Hello, and welcome to this session on must-do sets for CAT LRDI preparation. Whether you are just starting your CAT preparation or you're revising for the upcoming CAT examination, these are sets which you should not be missing out on. In today's session, we'll be looking at caselets. Now, caselets have a lot of application across CAT. Anything can be classified as caselet. Anything which you don't understand as a question can be classified as caselets. But if we were to look at a slightly more optimized definition of what caselets will be, most of the time you'll have a caselet where you have very little information which is given to you. Usually you have missing values, incomplete values, no figures, no diagrams. Most of the time, some of the caselets do come up with some diagrams as well. You have applications of calculation as well as some amount of logical reasoning. So it cannot be classified either as a pure DI set or a pure reasoning set as well. And most of these questions usually end up with a case where you have optimization, max, min sort of scenario. So you'll have multiple cases. So multiple scenarios which will be possible in that particular set. So that's broadly what you will call a caselet as such. Let's get on with this. If you are running short of time, obviously you can skip to the relevant sets. Each of the videos which you'll be releasing will have links available in the description where if you click on it, you can skip to the relevant set. So the set says, Nathu sells 4 types of snacks at tea time. Veg samosa, chicken samosa, mushroom samosa and prawn samosa. The following table gives the price per piece of each type of snack. So one veg samosa costs 10 rupees, one mushroom samosa costs 14 rupees, one chicken samosa costs 24 rupees and one prawn samosa costs 30 rupees. Now every question has additional information. What can be the minimum number? What can be the maximum number? What can be the minimum number? What can be the minimum? It's a standard optimization sort of a problem. Nothing much to do with the data which is given to you. Let's go to the individual question and solve them one by one. Question number 1 says, on a particular day, if at least 50 snack items were sold and the total earnings for Nathu was exactly rupees 600, what is the minimum number of veg samosas sold that day? You need to minimize the number of veg samosas. Constraint is total revenue is 600 and at least 50 snack items have to be sold. Right now, if this 50 was not given, right? So 600, I can fill everything using just chicken samosa or prawn samosa or mushroom samosa, right? So for example, I can have 600 divided by 30, which is 20 prawn samosas and basically earn that 600 rupees. Similarly, I can have 600 divided by 24. That's 25 chicken samosas and be done with my snack items. And similarly, I can do it with some function of mushroom, chicken and prawn samosas, right? I will be able to do it. The problem is I have to introduce veg samosas also. And the second concern is 50. Right, at least 50 items have to be sold. Right now, only 20 items are sold here, and here only 25 items are sold here. What you'll observe, and if you are familiar with optimization, this is pretty standard over there, is that because the unit price is higher, the number of items sold will be lower. So at 30 rupees per item, 20 items are sold. Whereas if you reduce the cost price or the selling price at 24, or you sell items worth 24, you can sell 25 items. So my constraint is reach 50 items, sell at least 50 items. You can increase to 51 or 52 or something like that, right? Sell for 600 rupees exactly and minimize the veg samosas. Okay, now the cheapest item beyond the veg samosa is the mushroom samosa. So let's see what happens if I take 50 mushroom samosas. 50 into 14, that gives me a revenue of 700. 50 into 14 gives me a revenue of 700. Right now, this has exceeded my constraint. My constraint was 600, but I have taken care of the other items. Right, at least 50 snacks are sold, and you have a minimum number of veg samosas. Right now, I have to slowly replace a mushroom samosa with a veg samosa. Now, every time I replace a mushroom samosa with a veg samosa, Right, so suppose I take 49 mushroom samosas and one veg samosa. Right, you are going to lose 14 rupees. Right, instead of 50 into 14, it will be 49 into 14. That will be 686. Right, but you are going to gain 10 rupees in terms of veg samosas. That will become 696. Right, so there is a drop of 4 rupees in earnings. Right, but the number of items remain the same. 49 plus 1 is still 50. You can verify it again. If you do 48 into 14 and 2 into 10, replace another mushroom samosa with a veg samosa. Right, so 48 into 14 will be 672. Right, and this will be 20. This gives you 692. You again drop 4 rupees. Right, but the number of items remain the same. 48 plus 2 is still 50. Right, so I have to maintain 50 or higher, right, and reach 600. So every time I replace a mushroom samosa with a veg samosa, I reduce the cost by reduce the earnings by 4 rupees. I have to reach 600. So from 700 to 600, I have to lose 100 rupees. Replacement rate is 4 rupees for each replacement. So I have to do the replacements 25 times. So after 25 replacements, so I'll replace 25 mushroom samosas with veg samosas. So I'll get 25 into 14 from mushroom samosas, 25 into 10 with veg samosas. 25 into 14 is 350, 25 into 10 is 250. Total earnings are 600. Reached, and total items sold is 50. So my question is, what is the minimum number of veg samosas to be sold? 25 samosas at least have to be sold. Right? Pretty straightforward use of optimization. Question number 2. On a particular day, if at least 100 snack items were sold and the total earnings of Nathu was not more than 2000, what is the maximum number of prawn samosas sold? Now this is like a flip side of this. Right, you want to maximize prawn samosas. Have at least 100 snack items. Right, but the total earnings should not breach 2000. Right, they should not breach 2000. Okay, let's do it in the similar manner. So if I take all 100 as prawn samosas, so you take 100 prawn samosas, 100 into 30, that's 3000 rupees. Right, now every time you replace a prawn samosa with a veg samosa, so you'll have say 99 into 30 and 10 into 1. You would lose 30 rupees on account of a prawn samosa, but gain 10 rupees for a veg samosa. So net change will be 20 rupees. You can verify this. 99 into 30 will be 2970. 10 into 1 is 10. So we'll get 2980. So a drop of 20 rupees. Right, but the number of items remain the same. 10 into 1 is 10. So 99 plus 1, total items are still 100. Right, why are we doing this? We are trying to first maximize the number of prawn samosas and then try to reduce the revenue as quickly as possible. Now, how much I need to drop? I need to go from 3000 to 2000 rupees, which means a drop of 1000 rupees. For every exchange, right? For every exchange, I lose 20 rupees. So I need to do 50 exchanges. So 50 prawn samosas and 50 veg samosas. Now you will say, okay, the answer is done, but now you'll ask, why can't we replace a prawn samosa with a chicken samosa? Yes, you can replace a prawn samosa with a chicken samosa, right? But the answer will have a problem. The reason is very straightforward. See, the average price of a snack is 2000 divided by 100, right? This is the minimum average. This is the maximum average. Maximum revenue is 2000. Minimum number of items is 100, which means the maximum possible average value of the snack will be 20 rupees. Now combining 24 and 30 will not be able to reach 20. So chicken samosa is out. What happens if I replace it with the mushroom samosa? Now, what will happen, and we can think of it intuitively, is that because mushroom samosa does not give you this much drop, you'll have to do more replacements. You can verify this. So instead of replacing with one prawn a prawn samosa with a veg samosa, we replace a prawn samosa with a mushroom samosa. So you will lose 30 rupees, but you will gain 14 rupees. So your net change will be 16 rupees. Right? You can verify. 99 into 30 is 2970 plus 14 will be 2984. So from 3000 to 2984, it's a drop of 16 rupees. How many replacements you'll have to do? Minus 1000 divided by minus 16. That's 500 by 8, which is 250 by 4, which is 125 by 2. So you'll have to do 62 and a half. You'll have to do 63 replacements. If you replace 63 times, you'll be left with only 100 minus 63, 37 prawn samosas. Right? But I need to maximize the number, so I'll replace it with veg. Why? Because it reduces the total amount faster than when compared to mushroom samosa. So I'll replace with the veg samosa. So I'll have lesser replacements and quicker fall to the desired 2000 items. By the way, the answer here was, what is the maximum number of prawn samosas? That will be 50. Now, question number 3 and question number 4 have the same partial information. Okay. And then you have additional information to solve this. Okay. So third says, on a particular day, the number of veg samosas sold was half the number of mushroom samosas. So let's call this P, Q, R, and S. Veg samosas is half the number of mushroom samosas. So Q equals 2 times P. P is equal to half Q. Q is equal to 2 times P. And the number of chicken samosas was 4 times the number of veg samosas. So R will be 4 times P. Right? If Nathu's earnings that day was rupees 9,000, at least one item of each snack was sold, what is the minimum number of prawn samosas sold that day? Okay. So the total earning was 9,000 rupees. Okay. The number of veg samosas sold is P. Number of mushroom samosas sold is 2P. Number of chicken samosas sold is 4P. Right. And prawn samosas sold is S. Right. And at least one item each day is sold. Right. What is the minimum number of prawn items sold that day? Right. So let's look at the revenue. You need to reach a revenue of 9,000 rupees. Now, so this is 7P items and 1 S items. What is the value of this 7P items? Right. So 1 prawn veg samosa costs 10 rupees. 2 mushroom samosas will cost 28 rupees. And 4 chicken samosas will cost 24 into 6, 96 rupees. So this comes as a bundle. This comes as a bundle. 96 plus 10 is 106. 106 plus 28 is 134. So these are bundles of 134. Right? This is one bundle. And the remaining bundle is 30 rupees bundle. Total of 9,000 rupees to be spent. Right? You can either do it mathematically or you can do it like in the previous case, replacements. Let's try to do it mathematically in this case. So if this is X, this is Y. 134X plus 30y should be equal to 9,000 rupees. Right, now obviously X has to be a multiple of 5 because this is a multiple of 5, this is a multiple of 5, so this also has to be a multiple of 5. The only way it will become a multiple of 5 will be when X is a multiple of 5. Similarly, X also has to be a multiple of 3 because 30 is a multiple of 3, 9,000 is a multiple of 3. The only way this can get a multiple of 3 is when X is a multiple of 3. So X has to be a multiple of 3 as well as a 5. So as well as 5. So X has to be a multiple of 15. It has to be a multiple of 15. Some multiple of 15. Okay. So let's try a reasonably large number. So 9,000 divided by 134. Into 2 is 260. Into 3 will be 780 plus 1 more will give you about 91, right? So let's try this. If I take into 2 into 3, so into 6, 60 times, right? If you multiply this by 60, right, 134 into 60, what will we get? 4208040, right? So balance will be 9000 minus 8040, that's 960. 960 divided by 30 will be 32 items will be sold of prawn samosa. Now, can I add one more multiple of 15? Let's try one more multiple of 15. If I try one more multiple of 15, 134 into 10 will be 1340. Now, if you add 1340 to 8040, that will go beyond 9000. So you cannot add one more multiple of 15. So this is good enough. All right. So this is the maximum you can go with. This is the maximum that you can go with this bundle of 134. Right. So at least 32 prawn items will be sold. At least 32 prawn items will be sold. Right. And the second part of this is very similar to this. Right. The initial information is pretty much the same. Right. So I'll just copy it there. Okay, so this one says if Nathu's earnings from veg, chicken and prawn samosas. Veg, chicken and prawn samosas. So what will be the bundle here now? 10 into P and 24 into 4. So that's 96. So this will be 106 times P. Right. One item will be 106 times P and prawn samosa plus 30S. This value is 1300. The question is, what is the minimum number of prawn samosas sold? So I need to again minimize the number of prawn samosa, which means I need to maximize the value of P. I need to reduce the value of S, which means I need to maximize the value of P. Now again, S is a 30 times any number will be a multiple of 10. This is also a multiple of 10, which means 106 times P should be a multiple of 10, right? So, which means P should be a multiple of 5, right? So let's see how many 5s can I add. Into 5 will give you 530, into 10 will give you 1060, into 15 will go above 1300. So maximum value of P can be 10. So put P is equal to 10, you get 1060. Balance will be 1300 minus 1060. That's equal to 240. Can 240 be divided by 30? Yes, it can be 8. So 8 will be the minimum number of prawn samosas that day. It's a very nice question on optimization. It's not very difficult if you understand optimization properly. If you don't understand optimization, basically you're going to struggle all over the place. But because there is very limited information, all you need to do is work on a case-to-case basis, look at basic concepts of maximization and minimization, and solve this. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, click on the notifications button so that you are notified when we are releasing our next set of videos. Please do like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. If you want to connect with us, you can connect with us through WhatsApp and Telegram as well. All the relevant links are available in the description of this particular video. This is a pretty straightforward question on optimization, numbers, etc. Quant-based reasoning. Came up in CAT 2019 slot 1. Should definitely solve this question. Let's see what this says. New game show on TV has 100 boxes numbered 1 to 100 in a row, each containing a mystery prize. The prizes are of different types, A, B, C, D, in decreasing order of value. The most expensive is type A, a diamond ring, and there is exactly one of this. So of type A, there is one prize, that's the most expensive. Then B is cheaper than A, C will be cheaper than B, D will be cheaper than C, and so on. So B, how many items are there? We don't know. C, there are some items. D, there are some items. E, there are some items. F, there are some items. G, there are some items, and so on. Right? You're told that the number of items at least double as you move to the next type. For example, there will be at least twice as many items of B as A, and at least twice as many items of C as B, and so on. Right? There is no particular order in which the prices are placed in the box. Okay. Right. So price number 30 can be item A, or price number 70 can be item B of some types. Right? That is the case. So if this is there, B should be at least 2. Now, if B is 2, C should be at least 4. It can be 5, it can be 6, and so on. It has to be at least double of the previous number of prices, and so on. And then you have question, what is the minimum number, maximum number, which of them is not possible, what is the maximum possible. So each of them is a case-by-case basis. 1 and 2 are related. Let's solve them and see what comes. Right? What is the minimum possible number of prices? So you know A is 1, and there is at least another price. So you can have 99 prices of the second type. So 2 prices are possible, right? What can be the maximum possible number of prices? Now, if I have 1 of item A, B will have 2. Now, if I have, see, with 2 itself, as I increase the value of B, the value of C will also increase. The number of items will keep on decreasing. So, number of different varieties will also keep on decreasing, right? We can prove it once we do this, okay? So, total will be 3 items. Total we have 100 items. So C, we can have 4, total will become 7. D, we can have 8, total will become 15. E, we can have 16, total will become 31. F, we can have 32. So total will become 63. Now G, we can have 64, but the total will exceed 100. So F should take the balance. 100 minus 31, that will be 69. Right, this is the maximum number, 6. What happens if I take 3? If I put A is equal to 1, B will be at least 3. Total will be 4. C will be 6. Right, this will be 10. This will be 12. So this will be 22. This will be 24. So this will become 22 plus 24, 46. This will be 48, which is possible, right? But then the 96 will not be possible. So again, you will have 6 items. If I take 1 and if I put B as say 10, next will be 20, next will be 40, next will be 80, not possible. So this will have to take the balance, 31. So this will be 69, right? This can be filled up in only 4 items. So as the value of B increases, the number of varieties of prices decrease. But we could have stopped it here itself. The smaller the value of B, and the smallest value of B is 2, the greater the variety of prices. So you can have 6 different varieties of prices. So 1 and 2 can be solved pretty easily. Question number 3, which of the following is not possible? Okay. Now we know A is equal to 1, B, C is 45. Right, so B should lie between, B should be less than 22, 23. So it can be anywhere from 22 to 22. But this does not add up to 100. Right, even if you take 22, 22 is 23, 23 plus 45 is not 100. And D will become 90, at least 90. Then the total will become more than 100. So first is definitely not possible. Right, so I should mark 1. Right, now just to verify, you can check what can be possible. Right, just to verify whether 2, 3, 4 are possible. Right, if I put A is definitely 1. If I put B is equal to 30, C can be the balance. This is 31. C can be 69. More than double of this. This is possible. What happens if there are 75 of E? So if I put A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2, C is equal to 4, D is equal to 8. I can put E is equal to, okay, if I put E is equal to 75, I can adjust the balance here. 79, 80, 82. So I can put 18 here. That will make it. This is also possible. There are 60 items of D. I can put 1, 60, 30, that's, I can make this 9. This is also possible. But C is equal to 45 is not possible. This actually should be taking you 30 seconds, but I'm just explaining it to you. And the last one, you ask for type of item in box 45. So in box 45, there is one type of item. Right? Instead of giving you a direct answer, you're told from 1 to, there are 31 items of the same type in boxes 1 to 44. And there are 43 items of the same type in boxes 46 to 50. And there is one item here. What can be the maximum possible different types of items? So there is 43, 44, 45, 75 items of one type. Now what can be the maximum possible? Right, you can have 4, 1, 2, 4, that's 7. Can you put an 8 here? 8 and 16, 24, no, not possible. So balance will be here, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 4 is 7, 7 plus 75 is 82, this will be 18. So there can be maximum of 5 different types of items, right? Very, very simple set. Key point was to understand optimization. Understand this part. The moment you increase B, other values will also increase, and you can always fill up the gap with the highest and the lowest values as we have done it in question number 3 also. Once you get this, the question can be solved very, very quickly. It's a must-do question. Overall, in an actual exam situation, it should take you 5 to 6 minutes to solve the entire set. About 3 minutes to understand what is going on, and then about 45 seconds to a minute each to solve each of the questions. That completes this one. A lot of students miss out on good B schools because they simply don't apply and they are ignorant. They don't do any research beyond the IIMs, and they are more worried about their profile and academics, etc., rather than actually getting into a good B schools and making a career in the management field. If you would like personalized B school assistance, all you need to do is fill up the Google document. Link is available in the description of this video, and we'll send you individual B school recommendations which fit your profile and your career aspirations.
The base exchange rate of a currency X with respect to currency Y is the number of units of X which is equivalent to 1 unit of currency X. Okay, so exchange rate of X with respect to Y is the number of units of currency Y with respect to currency X. So if I say $1 equals 70 rupees, I would say the exchange rate of dollar to rupee is 70, right? And for rupee to dollar, it will be 1 by 70. Right? Okay, currency outlets buy currency at a buying exchange rate which is lower than the base rate and sell at a selling rate which is higher than the base exchange rate. Okay, that makes sense. Currency exchange outlets has local currency L to buy and sell 3 currencies A, B and C, but does not exchange international currency directly with one another. So you cannot exchange A with respect to B. You can use A to buy L, or you can use L to buy A, but you cannot use A to buy B or B to buy A, right? Now then you have the base exchange rate is given and all these things given, and then you also have the amount used, etc. So we need to figure out the base rate, right? Because a couple of questions are the exchange rate. We also need to figure out how many units were sold, because there is some information given about the units, and you also need to see how many units were bought. Okay, so let's create a table out of this. So this is what we need to fill up. Okay, let's try to fill up this value. Now the base exchange rate of A, B and C with respect to L are in the ratio 100 is to 120 is to 1. So, but these are ratios, these are not the exact values. So this rate will be 100x base rate, this rate will be 120x, this rate will be x. Okay, we don't know what x is, right? Now, the buying rate is 5% below and selling rate is 10% above. 5% below, so this will be 95x. Similarly, 5% will be 6, so 114x, and this will be 0.95x. Similarly, this selling rate is 10% higher, so 110x. This will be 132x, and this will be 1.1x. Okay. Now, if you look at the last two statements, the outlet started with some amount of L, we don't know, 2500 units of A, 4800 units of B, and 48,000 units of C, and finished at 3300, 4800, and 51,000. So opening stock, then it will buy something, sell some units, and then it will be the closing. So let's look at some variables here. So if I put this as P, right, bought something, the stock has increased, which means the selling will be lesser. Difference is 800, so this will be P minus 800. This is Q. By opening stock and closing stock is the same. So whatever it bought, it sold also the same amount. And if this is R, closing stock is increased by 3000, so which means sold 3000 lesser. So these are the values which we can use. Okay, so we've used 5th and 6th. Now the rest we can try to figure out. Okay. Now, okay, if I look at the first statement, it says the amount of L used was equal to the amount of L it received by selling C. So whatever is it bought and sold, the amount of L used is the same. Now, amount of L used will be 0.95x into R. This value is same as 1.1x into R minus 3000. Now if I rewrite this, you will get 1.1 minus 0.15 R should be equal to 3300. So R should be equal to 3300 divided by 15 into 100. Right. So this is 20, this is 3, this is 1100 into 20, that's 22,000. R should be 22,000. So this should be 19,000. Right. So let's fill this up. Okay. Now I have used the ratios here. I have illustrated the amount of L used by outlet to buy A and B are in the ratio of 5:3. The buys are in 5:3. Total bought will be 95x into P divided by 114x into Q. This ratio is 5:3. Now this is x is gone, so this is 5, 6, 5 is gone. So P should be equal to 2Q, which is what I have written. Okay. Similarly, the ratio of amounts sold is 5:9. If I rewrite this, you will get 110x into P. P is basically 2Q. 2Q minus 800 divided by, this will be 132x into Q. This is 5/9. This is 5/6 again. This goes out. So if you rewrite this, you will get 4Q is equal to 2400. So Q becomes 600 and P becomes 1200. This will take about like half a minute more of calculation. And finally, when we substitute this here, outlet received 88,000 units. We have found P, substituted back here. This is 1200. This is 400. It received 8,800 L by selling A. 400 units are being sold at 110x. This gives you 88,000. So 2 zeros, 3 zeros, 3 zeros are gone. 4 into 44, so 2. So x should be 2, so everything is double the amount. So this should be 190, this should be 228, this should be 1.9, this should be 2.2, this should be 220, and this will be 264. Right, so we can fill up every single part of this like this. We can answer any question that we want. How many units of A did the outlet buy on that day? 1200. How many currencies of C did the outlet sell on that day? C sold is 19,000. Right. What is the base exchange rate of B with respect to L? Base rate is what we need to find, not this rate. Base rate was, original was 120x. 120 into 2 will be 240. So your answer will be 240. Just need to be careful. What is the buying exchange rate of C with respect to L? Buy rate is 1.9. C is here. Right? Not difficult at all. You just had to do some amount of manipulations. That's about it. Definitely should have been answered. Purely calculation, largely calculation based. Once you get the hang of what to fill, questions are reasonably easy to solve. That completes this set.
If you get stuck anywhere with respect to preparing for LRDI, there are some free resources which are available on our YouTube channel. We have a playlist on how to prepare for LRDI. It includes which are the topics which you need to focus on, how much do you need to spend on each area. Also, we tell you how to go about picking sets in the examination. Right? So if you are not able to pick even a single set, this is a good framework to start with and build on for your CAT LRDI preparation. If you want any further assistance in terms of speaking with us, getting personal guidance, doing more practice, following a more structured path to LRDI preparation, please do look at our Ultimate LRDI course. The set says an aptitude test has 100 questions in 3 sections, sections 1, 2 and 3. Okay. The number of questions in section 1, 2 and 3 are 20, 30 and 50, not necessarily in the same order. Okay. Each question in section 1 is worth 2 marks, 3 marks in section 2 and 5 marks in section 3. Okay. So we have 3 sections, section 1, section 2, section 3. Right. 2 mark questions, 3 mark questions, 5 mark questions. Now, number of questions would be 20, 30 and 50. So scenarios can be section 1 has 20, section 2 has 30, section 3 has 50. You can equally well have section 1 having 50, section 2 having 20, section 3 having 30 and all those scenarios. How many scenarios will be possible? 3p3, which is same as 3 factorial, or 6. There are 6 possibilities for how the questions are distributed over here. Now, the set further says the weightage of a section is defined as the contribution of the maximum possible marks in that section to the maximum possible marks for the entire test. Thus, the sum of weightages of the 3 sections add up to 100%. Okay. So basically, it's a percentage contribution of the section. So if I take something like this, 1, 2 and 3, right? 2 marks, 3 marks, 5 marks. So if I take 20 questions in section 1, 30 questions in section 2, 50 questions in section 3. So total marks in section 1 would be 2 into 20, that's 40 marks. Total marks here will be 90 and total marks here will be 250. So total worth of the test will be 340 plus 40, 380. So contribution of the first section would be 40 out of 380. Contribution of the second section will be 90 out of 380. And contribution of the third section will be 250 out of 380. These are contributions or weightages as defined over here. And if you add this, it will add up to 100%. So basically it's a percentage contribution over here. Now, if you go to the questions, right, each question requires you to figure out a weightage percentage. Right, question 1 is about weightage of more than 40%. Okay, and this one says which of the following is best describes the weightage of section 1. Okay, then it says if the weightage of section 1 is more than that, and third one says the total marks is more than 350, which of the following may not be true. Okay, so we'll have to look at all possible scenarios, all the 6 scenarios that we talked about, over here. Now, it is not very difficult to calculate, but if you calculate this in one shot, maybe about 2 to 3 minutes, you will be able to figure out, all these questions very quickly. Okay, so let's spend some time and write down the weightages. So if I say 20, 30, 50, then you can have 20, 50, 30. You will have 30, 20, 50. You'll have 30, 50, 20. Then you'll have 50, 20, 30. And you'll have 50, 30, 20. Right? So we can calculate the marks here. So 40, 90, 250. This adds up to 380. This will be 40, 150, 90. That's 240 plus 40. Sorry, this is 150. This is also 150. Right, so 300, 340. Okay, this will be 60, 60, 250. That's 370. This will be 60, 150, 100. That's 250 plus 60, 310. Right, this will be 100, 60, 150. That's 210 plus 100, 310. And this will be 100, 90, 100. It's 200, 290. Right. So if required, whenever I'll be required to find out, I'll be calculating the percentages. So I've quickly written these down. So this basically is the framework that we need to work with. This will take you about 3 minutes time. If you do it in an exam situation also, you can use a calculator, it will do it faster. When you're using the calculator, you can probably calculate the percentages also if you want to. Once you do this, you can go to the individual questions one by one and try to solve them. So let's do. Okay, let's try this. Question number 1. If it is known that none of the 3 sections, 1, 2 or 3 had a weightage of more than 40% in the test. So none of them should have more than 40% in the test. Then what was the total number of questions in section number 2? What is the number of questions in section number 2? Okay, I do not want any weightage to be more than 40%. So all these lopsided ones I can straight away out. See, this is more than 50%. So this scenario is out. Similarly, this scenario is out. This is straight away, you can say it's more than 40%. Right now, this is very close to 50% here. If you want to calculate, 10% will be 31. 40% will be 4 times 31, which is 124. So this is out. Right. Similarly, you can eliminate this also. 10% will be 34. 4 times that will be 34 into 4 will be 136. So that is also out. Right. Similarly here, because 150 out of 310 is eliminated, this is also eliminated. So we are already looking at the last case. Only one case is available. What is the question? What is the number of questions in section 2? Section 2 has 90 questions. Pretty straightforward. Question number 2. If W1 is a weightage of section 1, which of the following best describes W1? So you need to find the range, the lowest to the highest values. Now you can mentally, visually actually do this, you can easily say that this is going to be the lowest, because the lowest number of questions are allocated to the lowest number of marks, right? Whereas the highest number of questions are allocated to the highest number of marks, right? So obviously the weightage of the lowest section will be as low as possible. So this will be the lowest, right? This will be the lowest, and the highest will be here. The highest number of questions are allotted to the lowest marks, and whereas the lowest number of questions are allotted to the highest marks. So the relative importance of the lower marks questions becomes more than versus other cases. So this will be the highest, right? You can actually calculate it also. See, 100 by 290 is better than 100 by 310. 100 by 310 is better than 60 by 310. 60 by 310 is better than is worse than 60 is better than 60 by 370. 60 by 370 is actually going to be worse than 40 by 340, and this is going to be the lowest of all. This is going to be the lowest of all. Right? So this will be the lowest, this will be the highest. You can easily say this is the range. Right? Now, what is the value? The lowest value is 40 out of 380. 10% of 380 will be about 38. So the lowest value will be more than 10%. So option D is out. Right. The highest value will be 100 by 290, which is approximately 1/3. Right. Approximately 1/3. So this is the only scenario which fits. This is out. This is out. Option B will be our correct choice. Right. You can quickly approximate ratios. You don't need to use a calculator to solve this. Question number 3. If it is known that the weightage of section 1 is more than weightage of section 2. Weightage of section 1 is more than weightage of section 2. Right. When is this possible? Okay, it is possible only in these two cases. It's possible only in these two cases. All other cases, weightage of section 1 is either equal to weightage of section 2 or lesser than section 2. So this is out, this is out, this is out, this is out. Right, okay. How many of the following statements are definitely true? You need to be 100% true. So in both the cases, it should be true. None of the sections have a weightage of more than 50%. Right, this is true. Here, the weightage of the highest section is 50 out of 310, which is less than 50%. Here also it is less than 50%. So first statement is definitely true. Second statement, section 3 cannot have a weightage of more than 40%. Now this is false here. Right, 10% here is 310, 31, 100% is 310, 10% will be 31, 40% will be 4 times 31, that is 124. But 150 is more than 124, so the weightage is more than 40%. So second statement is false. Third statement, section 2 cannot have a weightage of more than 30%. Now this will be false here. This will be false here. 90 out of 290 has to be more than 30%. Right, 90 out of 300 is 30%. So 90 out of 290 has to be more than 30%. So this is out. And the last one, section 1 will have a weightage of at least 30%. This is true. 10% is 31. 30% will be 93, more than 30%. 10% is 29. 30% will be 87. Again, 100 is more than 87. So first statement and the fourth statement are true. I need to mark 2 as the answer. And the last one, if the total number of marks in the examination is more than 350. So this one and this one. So the others are out. Okay. Which of the following may not be true? So I need to be very flexible. Even if there are two cases, one statement it is true, one statement it is false, I will say it may not be true. The only time I'll accept it is both the statements it is true, only then I will pass the filter. I will say that okay, this statement is not possible as an answer. Okay. Unlike the previous one, in the previous one we eliminated the third statement because in one case it was true, one case it was false. But I wanted a definitely true answer. Here I want a may not be true, or say the other way to look at it, it may be false. Which of the following may be false? Right, other way to look at it. So even in one case if it is false, I will accept as a filter. Okay, statement A. Option A says section 3 cannot have a weightage of more than 60%. Now 250 out of 380 and 250 out of 370. Let me calculate only for 250 out of 380 because 250 out of 370 will have a higher weightage than 250 out of 380. Right. So again, we'll do the percentage parts. 10% value will be 38. 20% value will be double of 38, which is 76. 60% will be 3 times 20%. 3 times 76 will be 228. Now 250 is more than 228, so we can be pretty much sure that 250 is more than 60%, and similarly 250 out of 370 is also more than 60%. So first statement is definitely false. Now the problem is there is a more than one of the above. So I'll have to check one or maybe another one. Okay. B says the weightage of section 2 is more than that of section 1. Weightage of section 2 is more than that of section 1. Now it is true in the first case, right? It is true in this case, but it is false in this case. So this statement also may be false in certain cases, right? This is a maybe false, so I'll accept this also. Right, so both A and B can be false. A is always false, B might be false. I don't even need to check C because more than one of the above is good enough. Right, so option D I can directly mark. This is a wonderful question. The key point was basically draw this matrix. Once you draw this matrix, you can then go to each of the questions one by one, and the calculations are actually not that difficult. It looks intimidating at the beginning because there is very little information to work with. But once you realize what the set is actually asking, go through the questions to figure out what is going to be required, you can easily solve the individual questions one by one. It's a moderate to slightly difficult sort of a question. If you call it difficult, it's basically because of the number of cases which you'll have to deal with, and it might look scary at the first go. Other than that, about 10, max 12 minutes in an exam situation. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the notifications button so that you are notified when we are releasing our next set of videos. Please do like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you want to connect with us, you can connect with us through WhatsApp and Telegram as well. All the relevant links are available in the description of this particular video. Three friends, Amar, Akbar and Anthony, participated in a quiz competition. The competition had 6 questions, one each on history, literature, current affairs, science, politics and sports. So you have these 6. Each question was a multiple choice question, MCQ, have 4 options, option 1, 2, 3 and 4. As per the marking scheme for the quiz, each correct answer was awarded 5 marks and incorrect resulted in a penalty of 2 marks. So plus 5, minus 2. Right. While each incorrect answer resulted in a penalty, while there were no marks awarded or deducted for unanswered question. So unanswered is 0. Right. Each friend answered the quiz independently, and each question had only one correct answer. The following table shows the final score of the 3 friends, as well as this is the final score, as well as their correct answers to each of the 6, as well as their answers to each of the 6 questions. So what are the options that they marked for each of the 6 questions is given, and it is given that a blank cell represents an unanswered questions. So we know Amar did not answer this, Akbar did not answer this, right? And if you look at the questions ask how many of the following questions were answered correctly by Akbar, what is the correct answer for current affairs question, how many questions have option 4 as the correct answer, how many questions were answered correctly by only one of the 3 friends. So basically you have to figure out for each question what is the correct answer, who got it right, who got it wrong, etc. Right. So I've created a table over here. Right. I'll have to fill this up. Let's proceed. Now, if you look at Amar, right, he has attempted 5 questions, right, and he has gotten 18 marks. Your marking scheme is plus 5, minus 2. Now, if you get 5 all correct, he will score 25 for the correct marks and 0 for the wrong. Net score will be 25. Right. If he has 4 correct, 1 wrong, then you will have 20 for the correct questions and 2 marks for the wrong question. So 20 minus 2, 18, which is the score. So this is 4 correct, 1 wrong. Now Akbar has also attempted the same number of questions, but his score is only 4. So let's go. If he has 3 correct, that will be 15. For 2 wrong, that will be minus 4. So net score will be 11. With 2 correct and 3 wrong, he will have 10 for the correct answers, 6 for the wrong answers. Net score will be 4. 10 minus 6, 4. So we know it is 2 correct, 3 wrong. Now with Anthony, he has attempted all 6 questions. Right. If he gets all 6 right, his score will be 30. If he gets 5 right, 1 wrong, it will be 25 minus 2, 23. If he gets 4 correct, 2 wrong, it will be 20 minus 4, 16, which is what he has. Right, so we know for each of them what is the number of correct answers, what is the number of wrong answers. Right, obviously you can do it much faster. Right, I'm just explaining all possible cases. Now, as with all these questions, it's usually the best to start with either the highest or the lowest. Right, more than that, if you look at the correct and wrong answers, right, only one of the answers for Amar is wrong. Right, so let's try to figure out which of the answers is wrong. One way to do it is do a trial and error, check if history is wrong, see what is the case, then check current affairs is wrong, see what is the case, science is wrong, what is the case, politics is wrong, what is the case, sports is wrong, what is the case. That's like a brute force method, and we will have to go through this entire one because there seems that there might be a cannot be determined sort of a question. We just need to check that we are not missing out that case. Right, so that is a brute force method. Now, before we do that, let's try to eliminate some of the cases. Now, if you observe carefully, between Amar and Anthony, both of them have 4 correct. The only difference is there is only 1 wrong for Amar and 2 wrong for Anthony. Right, and if you observe, politics and sports are the same answers for both of them, 2 and 2, 3 and 3. So if one of them is wrong, the other one will also be wrong. If one of them is right, the other one also will be right. Now let's try to use Amar in this case. Suppose if his politics answer is wrong, Anthony's politics answer will also be wrong. Now, which means the remaining 4 answers will be correct. The remaining 4 answers will be correct. Right. Now let's score Anthony on this. Anthony, sports will be correct, but science, current affairs, and history is wrong. He's already got 4 wrongs. Right, he's got 4 wrongs. Now that is not possible because his overall number of wrongs is only 2. Right, so which means politics cannot be wrong. A similar sort of a case will happen if you get Anthony's sports wrong. Right, if you get sports wrong, then all the other answers for Anthony will be correct. Right, again, only politics will be the correct answer for Amar and Anthony. The other 3, Anthony will get it wrong, Amar will get it right. So again, Anthony will have 4 wrong already. So that scenario also cannot exist. Which means neither politics nor sports can be the wrong answer for Amar and Anthony. Both of them got this right. Now, this reduces the universe that we have to work with. Now we have to deal with only 3 questions for Amar. Right. Now, if you observe the remaining 3 questions, the answers for Amar and Anthony are different. This is 4, this is 2, this is 1, this is 4, this is 3, this is 4. So we know in 2 of the questions, Amar is going to get right. 1 of the questions Amar is going to get wrong. Right. Now the 2 questions that Amar gets right, Anthony will get those 2 questions wrong because his answers are different from this. Right. So both the errors of Anthony are already done. Both the errors of Anthony are already done. Which means that the question that Amar gets wrong, Anthony will have to get it right because both his errors are done. So the attempt has to be right. Right. So that will take care of 2 wrongs. You already had 2 rights and plus 1 more right. So that gives you 3 rights. What happens to his 4th right? His 4th right has to be the question which Amar did not attempt. So we know Anthony got the literature question right. Amar did not attempt it. Right. Now, since Anthony got the literature question right, Akbar will get the literature question wrong because the options are different. The options marked are different. Now, this basically solves the question. Why? Because we know all the 3 wrongs for Akbar. Akbar cannot make any more further errors, which means the remaining 2 questions that Akbar attempted has to be right. Right. So we know the right answers for these 2. So Amar got the same as Akbar. So Anthony got it wrong. So option 4 is the correct answer for history. Similarly, for science question, there are 4 is the correct choice. Akbar got it right. Anthony will also get it right, which means Amar got it wrong. Now Amar's error is already fixed. So Current affairs, Amar will be correct and Anthony will be wrong. We have fixed the entire table. We know every question's correct answer. Basically, we can solve anything that we want to. Let's go to the questions and try to solve this. I've written this down. The green ones are basically the right answers. Right. Question number 1. How many of the following questions were answered correctly by Akbar? Okay. Akbar got the history right. Did not get literature right. Did not get current affairs right. Got science right. So 2 of these questions. Right. Question number 2. What is the correct answer to the current affairs question? Current affairs question is option 1. Question number 3, how many questions have option 4 as the correct answer? There are 2 questions which have option 4 as the correct answer. Right. And the last one, how many questions were correctly answered by only one of the 3 friends? Only one person got it right. Literature is 1. What else? Literature is 1. Current affairs is the second one. Right. Literature, Anthony got it right. Nobody else got it right. Current affairs, only Amar got it right. Nobody else got it right. So there are 2 questions which are there. Okay. So instead of doing the brute force method, we first figured out, which are the 2 questions which will definitely be right for them. And then we figured out the error for Anthony. Again, we observed instead of trying to, just blindly go do and trial and error, there can be multiple, you'll have to do trial and error for 5 times. And even then, because of the case that the answer may be not determinable or there are multiple cases, you'll have to, go through every single scenario, right? With just a little bit of observations, a little bit of patience and some amount of deduction, we can actually reduce the number of cases that you have to work with. The universe shrinks. Time also reduces. If we put in a little bit of effort, the question also becomes relatively much more doable and much more faster to do. In an exam situation, about 8 to 10 minutes, it's a moderate to slightly tricky sort of a question. That completes this session on must-do sets for CAT LRDI preparation. Please do let us know in the comments below how you like this. Please do share this with your friends who are preparing for CAT and other MBA entrance examinations. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn, or you can connect with us on WhatsApp and Telegram groups. The links are all available in the description of this particular video. If you are facing any problem with CAT LRDI sets, you can look at our YouTube channel playlist on how to prepare for CAT LRDI. If you want any specialized, personalized attention on LRDI preparation in the most structured manner, you can also look at our Ultimate LRDI course. This is the most comprehensive course which is available in the market. Till we meet again the next time, goodbye and all the best.